Did I listen to pop music because I was miserable? Or was I miserable because I listened to pop music? High Fidelity is up next on Rediscovered Movies. Hello, welcome to a new episode of Rediscovered Movies. I'm your host, Nomfanelo Malloy, and today I have a special guest on the podcast. She's an independent filmmaker with her own production company called Petita Production and is a member of an experimental metal band called Dead Girl Rising. So please welcome Shadow Vasquez.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I think this is a better intro than the last one. I'm not waving this time, so right. I'm so excited to get started on discussing films because that's my jam.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a pleasure to having you on the podcast. So I feel like, yeah, you're the right person to talk about this film as a musician and a filmmaker. So the film that we'll be talking about, yeah.
I was going to say, no, I thought because I'm depressed. No.
No,
I'm joking.
Nothing to do with
I'm joking. But yeah.
So we'll be talking about today is High Fidelity. So it's a 2000 romantic comedy / drama that's directed by Stephen Frears, who's known for directing films such as The Queen and My Beautiful Laundrette. It's based on the book of the same name by Nick Hornby, who's known for writing novels such as About a Boy and Fever Pitch. The film stars John Cusack, who also co-wrote the screenplay. It also stars Jack Black, Todd Luiso, and Lisa Bonet. So essentially, the film focuses on Rob, played by John Cusack, who's a record store owner and compulsive list maker. Essentially, he recounts his top 5 breakups, including his recent one with Laura. The film was released in theaters on March 31st, 2000, where it opened at number 5 with 6.4 million. So films that beat this one at the box office include Erin Brockovich, The Road to El Dorado, The Skulls, and Romeo Must Die. The film made over $47 million worldwide during its theatrical release. In terms of reception, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 91% critic score. So with the consensus, it says, the deft hand of director Stephen Frears and strong performances by the ensemble cast combined to tell an entertaining story with a rock-solid soundtrack. The audience gave it 90%, so pretty much they're on par with their thoughts on the film. So on CinemaScore, it has a C+, which is interesting. Yeah.
It is interesting.
And but clearly, like, even though it didn't do well at the box office, it became a cult classic. So eventually it became a Broadway musical, which debuted in 2006.
What?
And there was a, yeah.
Wow, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I guess I'm not really like too surprised, but
yeah.
Okay. And it also inspired a Hulu TV series with Zoe Kravitz, which ran for 1 season, and it's available on Disney Plus. So the film is also available on Disney Plus and video on demand, so check your local provider. So we could go on to the first category, which is first discoveries, essentially how you first learned about the film, your initial thoughts, and has it changed since then? So Shadow, do you want to start?
I could take it. So I absolutely knew nothing about this film until you suggested it to me. I didn't know anything. So it was kind of interesting to watch it. I watched it like last night and my mom was saying, you said like, who's the lead guy's name again? I'm bad with names.
John Cusack.
Yes. When my mom turned around to see it, she's like, oh, it's that guy that holds up the boombox in the 80s. I'm like, what? So she like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was the first time watching it and it's pretty interesting. It's completely 2000s vibe, like the talking to the camera kind of shtick that I noticed that they like to do during that kind of era.
Mhm.
So it's kind of
Mhm.
interesting to watch. Very like melodramatic a little bit, I would say.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, but this was the first time I ever seen it. I've never watched it before, probably because I don't know. I actually don't. I don't know. My brother used to watch a lot of action films, so I think this is why I never watched it because I was stuck
Yeah.
watching like action stuff. But yeah, yeah, it was really it was kind of intriguing.
Mhm.
At times I found it like a little bit stale, but it could just be like not my thing. But yeah, it was interesting. Like the flow was nice. Some of the cinematography was fun. Um,
Yeah. Mhm.
I think the color grading was really nice too. Like it's such a nerdy thing to say, but the color grading was nice. I'm trying to think more. Oh, I was surprised when I saw Jack Black.
Yeah.
I really because I know him from School of Rock and what's it called? The Tenacious D movie, The Pick of Destiny.
Mhm.
So I was just wondering if
Mhm.
like it's one of his earlier films. I don't know his filmography that well, but he always seems to be singing in all his movies. Is it in his contract? I want.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but what about you?
Yeah, so for me, I think I like saw the film probably like on TV like a couple years ago. So I
Oh,
enjoyed it at the time, which maybe bought the Blu-ray at HMV and maybe when we used to have that store back in the day.
oh my God, we're old.
So, oh yeah. So yeah, like I pretty much enjoy the movie for how it is. I love like the music store vibes, which kind of like had a nice throwback to record stores during the day.
Yeah.
So it had similar vibes to Empire Records, which
Yes.
is a film that I covered back in season one. But I would say like with this film, it's kind of like more mature and focuses on the romance aspect
Mm,
than with Empire Records. But if you love like movies that have record stores and just people like hanging out,
yeah.
you'll enjoy this film.
That's very true. That's actually very true.
Mhm.
I used to do that.
Yeah.
I used to hang out in stores. That's really
Oh
weird.
yeah, same here.
Right? It's kind of
Hmm.
weird to think about. Just
Hmm.
bunking around in the store and you're like, are you gonna buy anything? No.
Yeah. Because like right now, like we have Sunrise Records, which replaced the HMV stores in Canada. So even though like it's nice to have record stores, is kind of like not the same as it was like way back when. But
That's true.
yeah.
It's a little
Hmm.
different. I mean, COVID didn't really help
Hmm.
either.
Yeah. Hmm.
No, that's very true. You know what it reminds me of, actually, now that I'm thinking about it? When I used to go and hang out at a comic book shop. That's what it reminds me of. I think that
Mm.
nostalgia I used to have. Like as a 15-year-old,
Yeah.
hanging out at a comic book shop, talking to these
Hmm.
18-year-olds. Like, I don't know what I was doing with my life. Hey, but all I'm gonna say is I got some discounts, so I'm okay. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
but it gives that movie kind of gives that vibe off, but like older, like you were saying, like it was like a still the same idea as Empire Records, but like older audience, I
Hmm.
feel like. But yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, like it definitely like miss those times for sure, especially now since everything is like digital and you essentially get your order your stuff online through Amazon or other like online retailers and
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, honestly, because like it's
true.
easier
Yeah.
to get your stuff out there than it is to like do it back in the day. Well, I mean, in the movie they have it that those teenagers he wanted to make a record for them. Like
Hmm.
nowadays, like you don't even want to know the process of it. Nowadays, you gotta pay somebody to do it for you, and then you gotta wait for the rights, and then when you get the rights, you can put it on Spotify. But if you don't, you gotta put it like on SoundCloud. But it's better to be on Spotify, so you can be on platforms like TikTok and whatnot, so people can listen to it. So it's a big throwback.
Hmm.
It's a big throwback.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we could, yeah, segue into highlight section, essentially what we liked about the films or any particular aspects of the film or specific scenes, that sort of stuff. So I would say for me, what I really liked about the film was that it showed the male perspective for romantic comedies.
Mm.
Because with the films in that genre that I've seen prior to High Fidelity, it's always focuses on the female lead, but it was just refreshing to see like how men like deal with heartbreaks, and clearly like with Rob, like he's dealing like with a lot, especially when he breaks up with Laura and recounts the previous heartbreaks that he went through. So
Oh yeah,
that was refreshing to see in that for that genre.
That's true. That's very true. I also like that he realizes, oh wait, like there's other problems, that wasn't just me. You know, it gives you that insight where like your anxiety makes you think I'm the one who did it all, but in actuality it's not the case. You know, sometimes it's amicable, sometimes you don't see the bigger picture, and then he comes back and he's like, hold up, wait a minute, what happened here? I have to agree with you on that. Like I did enjoy that part as well. I also liked seeing actors that I've known from previous things. I can't like the one girl, I'm just horrible with names. The one girl that was in Big Bang Theory. She was like,
Sarah Gilbert.
Yes.
That's her name.
Yes. It's interesting to see like a throwback. Even the girl, the woman, I should say, sorry, from the Addams Family, where she played Fester's fiance. They got married. I forgot her name, but I love her in the 2000s.
Okay.
I'm just bad with names. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm horrible with names.
Because honestly, like it's a while since I've seen the Addams Family. So like, because is it oh my god, is it Rob's sister you're talking about?
No, is it? No, it's oh god, what's her name? The leading lady. What's her? Her name's not Lucy, is it?
Oh, Laura.
Laura. It's Laura's friend. Or coworker. That lady, she's in the Addams Family. The one where Fester marries Debbie, and she's Debbie. She plays Debbie. I just love her. She's hilarious.
Okay.
It's true.
Because yeah, I definitely need to revisit that movie because it's been a while.
Oh, my faves.
Yeah.
Okay. But what else did you enjoy about it?
Because I was gonna say, like with the heartbreaks that Rob went through, like it was just interesting to see that he pretty much was the person that got broken up to. Like so essentially the other women broke up with him. But I guess with the exception of Penny.
Yeah.
Because the other women broke up with him, which was interesting because if like it showed him breaking up with women all the time, then he would not have been a sympathetic character as the protagonist.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. Yeah, everybody loves a guy who was who was pathetic. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, but we love.
Yeah, because
no, you go.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I was pretty much gonna say I just wondered though, like I guess in today's context, like if Rob is a simp.
The words of today.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends. I guess it depends on everybody's perspective, right? Because sometimes some people will be like, oh hell yeah, he's a simp. Like look at him. He's like crying over the dumbest things, and other people will be like, no, it's sympathetic, man. Like he's really emotional. I don't know. I think we're in a weird time where sometimes it's nice to be a simp and then other times it's not. It sounds weird.
Yeah, true. Because it seemed like, especially with like Charlie, he was more like heartbroken with her because when he wanted to revisit the other exes, like he kind of like put her like to the side because he seemed to be more heartbroken with her, which made me wonder like why like is she number 3 on the list when he seems to be more upset with her?
Oh, I think it has to just do with ego. Why he's more upset.
Probably, yeah.
Because she's so like she's so hot, like quote unquote, she's so hot, and so put her on a pedestal, but at the same time, like you definitely know that they were never gonna last. Because he
absolutely.
was self-doubting himself the whole time. She didn't give a shit, and like yeah, even when he revisited her, she's all like, I knew it, like I knew you're gonna try to ask me these questions. So it's like it was inevitable that they were gonna break up. Like it was gonna happen, but I guess his ego got like hurt because he's like, I got the hot chick, and I was like, oh, I lost the hot chick. You know?
Absolutely.
That's what I think.
And I would say like another aspect I like is top fives. There's a lot of top fives in this movie. So we have like the music list, the heartbreaks, and top 5 records, which he decides to create after meeting the shoplifters later in the movie.
Ah, yes, that's true. Oh yeah, yeah. I wonder how you would go about life just making lists like that. Is it?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Would it be like aggravating because you need the list, or is it more joyful because you want the list?
Or maybe both.
Yeah,
it could be a bit of both.
That's true. It could be like girlfriends that broke my heart, top 5. Music that I clean house to, top 5. You know. I guess it all depends. Well,
because they have the top 5 records to play on Monday mornings, and top 5 records about death when Laura's dad died, and
I wonder why 5. Why not 3? Why not 10?
I guess 5 is better. I don't know.
The magical number. Oh, because you have 5 fingers on your hands. So I'm joking. Maybe. Did I just figure out a metaphor for something? I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about Dave Chappelle's like skit with Charlie Murphy and he's playing Rick James. What did the 5 fingers say? Smack. Anyway. But what else did you enjoy about it?
Because I also liked the record store environment. So he owns a Championship Vinyl, which is I guess an indie record store, because we see them have lots of like the indie rock / alternative records. And I would have to say, like with Jack Black's character Barry, he is the worst employee. Because an example is like with the scene when the dad asked for like a Stevie Wonder record for his daughter's birthday, but he like refused to help him because he doesn't like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. I love me some Stevie, but yeah.
And the other coworker, Dick, like he's essentially nerd and he's pretty much anything but a dick, but
a wimpy guy.
You
really need his.
But he gets Sarah Gilbert at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, they always get the girl in the end, right?
Not all the time, but
sure. I mean, it would be a little depressing if he didn't. A little bit. Like, haha, that's poor guy. I was gonna say that sucker, but like, that's a little too harsh. I know Jack Black's character reminds me of some people that I know. Oh, just bad employees in general who kind of like are a little bit entitled, and you're like, relax. It's a minimum wage job, but I guess the passion for the music, right?
Yeah. Because he does seem like a fun character to like hang around, probably because of Jack Black's personality. But like as an employee, like he's the worst.
Yeah. Oh my god, what happens if he was like, okay, Nicolas Cage plays Barry. Do you think people would like
Mm-mm.
him?
Nope.
No, exactly. So I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think Jack Black brings that charm, like, he's kind of a dick, but whatever. He knows that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Because also, like, I loved, the performances, like, essentially from the whole cast,
Mhm,
because we mentioned John Cusack.
mhm.
Jack Black, it does a good job. I would say too, like with Todd Luso, who plays Dick,
Yeah.
because I kind of forgot like his name because I recognize him for playing the doctor in Snakes on the Plane.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, because he's like one of those character actors that you kind of like see him in a bunch of stuff,
Mhm.
but mhm.
You don't recognize him?
And
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's actually not a bad thing.
yeah, exactly.
You can like.
And yeah, I love Lisa Bonet as Marie.
Mhm.
So I thought she was fun because also it's kind of nice tie because Zoe Kravitz essentially is the main character in the TV show version for this movie. So
Oh,
that
interesting.
was a nice connection there.
Oh, wow. Do you think that she wanted to do it because of that? Like Zoe Kravitz wanted to be on board with that because her mom was in it, or it's just kind of like, well, a coincidence?
I mean, maybe, but also too like it's a lead role essentially for her. So
That's true. That's very much
hmm
true.
hmm
Cool.
And I also enjoyed Tim Robbins who played Ian.
Mhm.
That was Laura's boyfriend, who's kind of like seemed like a guru type, like with
Yeah.
the long white hair.
Yeah. Like, and like the robes and stuff, and he's so enlightened. Yeah. Yeah. Those guys.
hmm
Yeah.
Because essentially he's a version of Steven Seagal, which it is referenced in the movie.
Oh, no way.
hmm
Oh, I didn't know
Because there's like a photo of him in the Laura's apartment
that.
in the karate uniform.
Yeah. Yes, I remember. Okay, yeah.
hmm hmm
Oh,
And that sequence, like when he visits Rob at the record store, is hilarious because it showed like the different versions of his response to Ian.
oh yeah. Yep. Yep. That's true.
Because
Nah, I just
I
remember.
would say for me, like that was one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
Oh yeah.
hmm
Here, top 5 scenes. Top 5 favorite scenes.
Oh, oh gosh. I don't have like a top five because I would say like with that scene,
Uh-huh.
I love the opening sequence when he delivers the monologue about pop music.
Yeah.
I forgot the line, but and I loved the concert at the end when Jack Black sings "Let's Get It On."
Oh yes, Marvin Gaye. Hmm.
hmm And I also liked like the scene like when he talks with his sister where essentially the sister calls him out for being an asshole.
I mean, we stand a queen who does that.
hmm
Okay.
And I also liked the scene when Barry like refuses to give this rare record to a customer,
Oh
but
yeah.
then decides to give it to his friend instead.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. And the guy,
hmm
doesn't he lick it? The
I think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he licks it. Like, ew, why would you lick it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not even your property. Why are you licking a record?
Yeah, exactly. Again, like terrible employee, but fun person to hang out with.
Right? That's true.
hmm
That's very true. Hmm.
hmm And yeah, this film has a lot of needle drops, like with the indie music. So
Yes.
essentially, a lot of rock and alternative, and some R&B and soul, like with the Stevie Wonder
Yeah.
and Marvin Gaye song.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that part, especially when they
Yeah.
mentioned Marvin Gaye. I was like, yes, that's my
hmm
boy. But it's kind of like,
Mm.
I got a little bit sad when he retold how Marvin Gaye had died because he got shot by his dad.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I didn't really like it. I was like, yeah, I know he died that way, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you were to talk about Nirvana, then just explain like nonchalantly how Kurt Cobain died. I don't know. It
Yeah.
might just be me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, and the last one, I guess what I liked is the nice cameo by Bruce Springsteen.
Um,
Because I think like it's when like Rob like he's delivering a monologue and then it also cuts to Bruce Springsteen to pretty much gives him advice on what to do and all that sort of stuff.
we love cameos. I wonder what the
hmm
budget was like for that particular part.
Who knows? Because I imagine like the film's budget is like 20 million
Yeah,
or so.
that's true. But like
And
you're
then you have to add marketing, so it'll be times two its budget.
oh, I don't even want to think about it. Oh,
Yeah.
budgets. Where does the money go? I swear.
hmm So, is there anything else you want to add in terms of what else you liked about the film?
Uh, I like the way it was filmed. I like some of the scene. This one scene. He's walking up the stairs, going to the subway, and I kind of really enjoyed the
hmm
atmosphere of it. How he's just walking, and then there's like no one really paying attention to them. I don't know. Maybe I'm a sucker for like inner monologues saying out loud, and people just don't pay attention. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of what I like about that, is that he's just kind of talking and he's looking at the camera. I also like it when I catch
hmm
him looking at the camera when he wasn't supposed to because he was in the scene. You know,
Yeah.
gives me like Malcolm in the Middle vibes. Even though this movie probably
Oh.
was, yeah, I was gonna say even though this movie probably was before Malcolm in the Middle, but it's just like I just always like that, like turns to the camera and just says, "Oh, like Saved by the Bell 2 with Zach Morris."
hmm
Except for this whole
hmm
stupid time in, time out bullshit. Like he's a wizard or something. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Some things, some film creators are or some screenwriters are hilarious. But let me think.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking back at the movie. I like the pace of it. You know, nothing was like too in your face. It flowed really nicely. Which I think. I like the setup and the locations. It sounds so weird. You're talking about the scenes, and I'm just talking about like the movie. But like I really like the set design for the record.
hmm
You know, it's like dingy, and then when he's outside, he chases those two punks, and like you see how the store looks, and there's posters everywhere. And it's like that's real indie. You
hmm
know, like that's super indie. It's not your run of the mill like HMV, Sunkiss Records, or whatever. It's like this guy owns it type of thing, and his personality is into it. But yeah, the shots are really
hmm
nice. I like the scene where he's in bed and he's freaking out, thinking about that guy having sex with his ex.
Oh yeah. That was like hilarious.
Right? And like they're in their bed and they're listening to him, and she says I wonder what that's like or something like that. I was like, oh, she insulted him. You know, like poor guy. Which begs the question, like what, like I want to know, was he actually that good? Was Ian that good? You know, she said like, oh, she's like about it, but like, girl, for real, tell somebody. I want to know. Was it?
Yeah, he seems to be like a control freak
Mhm.
in a way because he always tries to be like in control of his emotions and all this stuff and always advises like Laura to like calm down
Yeah,
and that sort of stuff when she's stressed out with Rob always visiting her.
yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, you gotta throw some bad in there so we don't root for him, you know.
hmm hmm
Classic script writing, but
Yeah.
that's true. I'm trying. I think you said the majority of the things that I liked. besides
Mm-hmm.
Jack Black being Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I found out with the budget, so it's 30 million actually.
Oh, snap. A good
Mm-hmm.
portion of that went to Bruce Springsteen.
Probably, yeah, like with the music, yeah,
Yeah.
and the Bruce Springsteen, yeah.
Oh my God, the rights to music? Don't get me started on that. Especially if you don't know somebody to know somebody. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense if their location
Mm-hmm.
changes. Not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of outfit changes. Like, they have the main locations. Yeah, I can see it.
Mm-hmm. Because I guess like it really shows like Chicago like in a way that's authentic. Again, I've never like been to Chicago, but it seemed like yeah, the filmmakers like they did a good job, I guess, with the landscapes and all that sorts of stuff.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite movies while you're sleeping, it's a Sandra Bullock movie from the 90s. I'm pretty sure it's based in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago too. And so
Mm-hmm.
it gave me that vibe, like people really love that town. If I'm wrong, then I'm fucking
Mm-hmm.
wrong. I'm sorry. I love this movie and I don't know where it is. I don't know. But yeah, it's nice to see locations, because sometimes films are like, oh, we're in New York, but they're just filming in Toronto.
Yeah.
Plus the cost is cheaper here.
Mm-hmm. Plus tax credits.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The joys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you first.
Okay. Oh, I was actually gonna segue into the lowlights section, but if there was anything else you want to add
Oh
before
no,
then.
no. Let's move on.
All right. Okay. So we'll go on to the lowlights. So essentially what we didn't like about the movie. So I didn't really had too much to add in this section, but I would say I felt the film was a bit too long. So the movie was an hour, 55 minutes. I felt like it could have been like 15 or so minutes less because I felt like for me, like in the 1 hour mark, it kind of started to drag.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That is true.
Because I don't know like what scenes like I would cut like specifically. Like maybe like in the later half when he keeps talking about Laura, because maybe like that could have been trimmed.
It's true. It could have been, but then maybe they're thinking like, are people getting the point across of like how obsessed he is? Not necessarily obsessed, but yeah, I get what you mean. Sometimes if they maybe rewritten it or like went back to, but Lord of the Rings is 3 fucking movies. The Hobbit, which is 1 book, is 3 movies. So
yeah,
I mean, what can you do? Was that the only thing, or that you didn't like?
I would say that like it was kind of weird that Charlie she undresses in the hallway like in the flashback sequence.
Oh yeah.
Because like what if someone like comes out of the apartment and then sees all that? Like I thought that was weird.
Oh, she's just an exhibitionist. She likes to be
Yeah.
like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I get it.
And yeah. And the last point that I'll make is that with the Bill Cosby reference, when Barry points out Ross's Cosby sweater, like that is certainly like outdated, especially we know what happened with Bill Cosby, but
That's true. Yeah, the silly thing about old media is that certain references are super outdated and it's just a little awkward. I don't know if that's a good thing that things get outdated though. But yeah, that kind of made me laugh because I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because he could have said like either like the Bert or Ernie like sweater because they do wear similar sweaters from Sesame Street. Yeah,
that's true. Bert or Ernie, yeah, it's true. Oh yeah. I guess I didn't know, right? When you write for the Times, you don't know.
True, yeah, it happens.
I was gonna say I recently have been on like a little 80s binge with movies, and you don't realize how much they use a certain homophobic slur. You know, it was so casual
Hmm.
then, and then looking back at it
Yeah,
now, you're just all like, oh, you know, like it is dated. And I think a lot of the filmmakers are like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But
yeah.
it was what's in the time, right? Who
Hmm.
knows? Maybe when people are saying simp, it's gonna mean something else like 20 years down the road, and people are like, ah, ew, outdated. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
or other references like even like any kind of references with Kanye West or Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like it all
Mm-hmm.
depends. That's the shitty thing about
Yeah.
making pop culture references.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because certainly, yeah, like with time, it could always like change your perspective of the movie. Because maybe like way back when you really enjoyed it, but then with everything that happened since then, you're kind of like, not too sure about this. But
Yeah. It's like watching Miramax movies and you're like, gross. Like
yeah.
it's kind of hard to watch. And you're like you don't know what happened there and you don't know who did what. And you're like, oh. But then again, there's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of Miramax movies that I like. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to think.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to add for this category?
Uh, I'm trying to think of the movie right now and what I wasn't particularly fond of.
So like would you say like as a musician, do
Yeah.
you think they kind of did a good job with that aspect of the film?
Uh, I mean, times have changed, that's for sure. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's. I find most of the times when people want to make films and they're not like 100% sure on certain subjects, it kind of what's it called? Not they don't go too far into it. You know, like you can make a lot of
Mm-hmm.
references to a lot of things, like a lot of indie bands and things like that. But it wasn't bad. You know, definitely is of the
Yeah.
time, like the indie rock, like when he's talking about Green Day and the influences was really nice because it's true. A lot of bands do get
Mm-hmm.
influenced by other bands, so it was really nice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it it's gonna sound really weird, but I feel like it doesn't really focus a lot on the music for me. Like
Yeah.
I was more focused on like his relationship, and maybe that's what they wanted. You know, like the
Mm-hmm.
what's it called the foreground. Yeah, the foreground
Mm-hmm.
is his relationship. The background is the music. But like, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
they really like. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't know half the songs that he was talking about that I didn't
Yeah.
connected with it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if
Yeah.
I was older and I watched it then, I might be like, oh yeah, yeah, that, you know. But eh,
Mm-hmm.
I think the nice thing was Jack Black's little performance at the end with actual live music.
Yes.
I think that was really
Mm-hmm.
nice, and also him DJing was pretty interesting.
Mm.
He doesn't
Yeah.
look like a
Mm-hmm.
DJ. I'm sorry. But maybe I'm like in my head who I envision as DJs is stupid. Like I should say stupid, but like Polly D from Jersey Shore. Okay, that's who I think of.
Yeah.
Or like what's his name? Oh, that guy that was like, is he still famous? He's probably still famous. Mousehead, the Mousehead guy.
Oh, Dead Mouse?
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a DJ?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Or Paris Hilton, but no. But who I really think of DJs, you know, is that, or I think about like the 70s, you know, with the Motown, or the 80s, sorry,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
those type of DJs. But seeing him as a DJ was kind of like, I don't know, it was a little weird. But you shouldn't judge a book
Mm-hmm.
by its cover, right?
True, because DJs like back then were certainly different than with DJs right now.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure.
Because probably because like you've seen like with the the EDM music, like the rise of like DJs, because we have a lot of popular ones like Calvin Harris and Dead Mouse and all this sorts of stuff. So probably that plays into it as well.
I think so. It definitely. You know what I kind of I do and I don't like about it is that it's a staple point of its era. Like this is a 2000s movie. Like it's a cult classic, but like it's a 2000s movie. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's in that era. It doesn't. I don't know if it might probably does do well with time, but I don't know. It's not. This movie is not something that I would watch continuously. Like I wouldn't go back to it. Like I watched it once and I'm okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I kind of I think his character is a little bit too cynical for me. But I feel like
because like he did like admit in the film that he is an asshole.
Oh no, yeah, no, we stand that. I feel like you have to be in the mood to watch it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you can throw on something stupid and like you have it in the background and you watch it. I feel like you have to pay attention to this movie. You can't just have it in the background.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How many times have I just thrown Lord of the Rings on the background and did something else? And I was like, oh, you know what's Frodo doing? Oh, Sam. Oh no. Yeah. I think that's, for me, it's like I watched it once. I don't know if I'll watch it again. It didn't necessarily like intrigue my interest. Like as a movie, as a filmmaker, I can appreciate it. But as a viewer, I don't know. Maybe months, years down the road, I'll come back to it. But yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah.
So we could segue into the trivia section. So essentially the fun facts about the film.
Okay.
There's a lot of fun facts about this movie. I'm not going to go over all of them because that'll take forever. So I selected exactly. So I selected a few. So like speaking with Jack Black, so apparently the filmmakers, they had Jack and Black in mind for the role. He nearly turned it down, but luckily he reconsidered.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Did he have another project?
No, maybe like he had like doubts about the role itself. Again, I'm not too sure, but
when was this movie made? 2000s, like just 2003 or something?
In the year 2000.
Okay. I'm just like wondering if it's just I probably didn't want to play didn't want to be that type of role. But then again, like School of Rock, they're a little bit similar, no? The two characters.
Yeah, like I would say like School of Rock, like there's a bit more depth with that, even though like it's a comedic role.
Yeah.
But
oh, okay. On to the next fact or trivia.
Yeah. So with John Cusack, he originally wanted Bob Dylan for the Bruce Springsteen cameo part, but Bob Dylan was unavailable to do it.
Oh. Unavailable, or he didn't want to do it? I'm joking.
It just says unavailable.
Oh. That's a polite way of saying no. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Imagine. He's all like, no.
And so when discussing the top 5 opening tracks, so Barry criticizes Rob for including Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana, and Jack Black is the frontman for Tenacious D, whose videos have sometimes guest starred drummer Dave Grohl, who was also the drummer for Nirvana.
Oh, that I did not know. I like it.
And so with the last one, the Marvin Gaye song Let's Get It On, which was performed by Jack Black, was apparently not the first choice in earlier script drafts. So with Marvin Gaye's song Got to Give It Up was originally planned for the finale, but Jack Black resisted. He felt like it was unsuitable for the climactic scene.
That makes sense.
Mhm. So in a way though, like they made the right choice with the "Let's Get It On" song.
Yeah. And he sung it really well, so
Mm-hmm.
kudos to him.
Mm-hmm. So lastly, like I leave with this question. So should this film be rediscovered? So I would say yes. People should check out this movie because it has like the male perspective of the rom-com genre that makes it feel fresh. The music I felt like fits like with the film, and I love that with the choices for the most part are less mainstream. The performances from the cast are solid, and I love the throwback to the late 90s slash early 2000s with every aspect, including the title sequences at the beginning and the end with the record playing and the titles that's shown in the movie.
Oh. Well, I have to agree with you. Like everybody should see it once, at least once. Get like a
Mm-hmm.
different feel of a rom-com because they're so used to like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the quirky girl. Maybe I'm thinking more of Hallmark movies, but like it it's nice to have a palate cleanser,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And who doesn't like John Cusack? He's a cutie.
Absolutely, yeah. Because if you loved Say Anything or any
Yeah,
of his prior roles, then you'll certainly love his performance in this movie.
that's very true. Like a little bit of the
Mm-hmm.
ruffle in the hair, we stand. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
true. But I do agree. Like I think everybody should see it at least once. Like I didn't know about this until you suggested it. And, you know, I was quite surprised by
Mm-hmm.
it. So I think yeah, everybody
Yeah.
should see it at least once. See it with your
Mm-hmm.
mom so she can tell you who the actors are. See it with
Exactly. So that pretty much wraps up this episode of the podcast. So, is there anything, Shadow, that you want to plug in, like with social media handles or any upcoming projects?
So, uh, obviously you already introduced me, so it's really nice. So if anybody wants to follow me, it's Petita Projections at IG. And I am in a band, which is Dead Go Rising, and our EP should be out pretty soon, maybe in a couple of months, but it's all scratch demos. Just because with the pandemic, we can't really go into a recording studio right now. So we're on Spotify now, Dead Go Rising, holla. If you like experimental metal screaming with a bit of singing, I'm the one who screams, and my friend's the one who sings. So yeah, you could check it out. I want to thank you very much for having me on this lovely podcast. I was super nervous, and I feel like I screwed up, but that's okay. But
Oh no, like you did a great job
oh, thank you.
for sure.
Stroke my ego, but gaslight me. No, but I really do appreciate it. It was really fun. Like, and I hope we could do it again with like maybe the Adams Family, because I could drone on and on about it, or the Karate Kid, because I'm obsessed at the moment. Oh my
I'm not sure like if those movies are like underrated because
god!
I think those movies were popular at the time, so it wouldn't fit with
I know,
this podcast, but
no,
yeah.
I know. They're super. They're still going to this day. People are still making revenue with them. But if there's any other movies that you
Hmm.
think that I would enjoy, I'd be down. Send them my way.
Oh yeah,
Discovering new things.
absolutely. Yeah. So you could follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at Nomfanelo. You could follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at RDMoviesPod. You could use the hashtag RDMoviesPod. You could answer the featured question on Spotify. So like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on your platform. Also, leave a review, and you could submit questions, comments, and suggestions by email, which is rediscoveredmovies@gmail.com, or you could also leave a short voice message on anchor.fm/RD Movies Pod. So, is there anything, Shadow, that you would like to add about the movie?
Um, let's see. Oh, shout out to throwbacks for the fact that like it gave me high key nostalgia with the record store. It was nice to think about the times that I spent at a comic book shop. So I was really enjoying. I think people who are in our age range would really appreciate it, or people who are obviously older. The nostalgia is key. Yeah, I think that's all.
And on that note, please support your local record stores. They need it more than ever, especially with the pandemic. So,
Oh my God, this is gonna be dated with the pandemic. Why not?
yeah. Well, so that's pretty much the end of this episode. So, until next time.
Bye. I'm waving again.